And then Jay shares it on his LinkedIn. An email goes out to the studio, and people are encouraged to share, like, comment. And this has really been mostly led by junior staff. And I think a very important part of this process has been they were given a local budget for their social media efforts. So really kind of rewarding the effort that they put into it and giving them a small budget to work with. And very importantly too is I'm brought in to review. I know what might be a PR problem, client nuances, don't say Google, and things like that. So, it's nice to be looped in and provide that feedback. Let's see. How do we expect our issue? I guess it wants us to stay on this side.
Oh, sorry.
That was a good-looking man.
Sorry. Sure.
That was cool.
Wants us to watch the video again. Yeah. There we go. Okay, well, thank you. So here are just a couple other examples, and it's been a lot of great engagement, not only by external people, but other HDR people. Other studios will see this. So in a lot of ways, it's internal and external knowledge sharing. So as I mentioned, it's not just that Jay posted by end of day. There is an email that goes out asking the studio to share. So I wanted to pinpoint this one example. This was a pretty, a quote-unquote low-effort lift. It's actually material from Opacity, the Opacity submission that, I helped them kind of clean up and make sure it was okay to post. And this is a PDF, so it wasn't a huge lift of a video or anything. But once Jay shared this, the Bronzeville partners reposted it with this amazing caption. Thank you, Jay and HDR team. It's getting more connections, more views, and it's reaching other potential clients. So don't underestimate, the power of LinkedIn networks and sharing. And I chatted with Lily, who was kind of spearheading this effort, and got her thoughts on, what has this series meant to you, and what is it like to work on it? What do you like about how it's turned out? And she kind of said it's been a really great studio for kind of both internally and externally to bring people together, to offer this moment of pause. We're always going from one project to the next, but it kind of allows them to pause, reflect, look at, hey, we did this. This is all the work that went into this, and kind of celebrate that moment. So what's next is they did an amazing intern spotlight, so videos with their interns, and it's great to show that to potential recruits. They see that, oh hey, an internship with HDR would be really cool, and they're going to branch out from just Jay. Jay has been great, but they're going to look at posting with John Brooke, Janet Olson, and maybe Grace. So kind of having these spearheads in the studio sharing these messages externally. So then creating website portfolio pages, as I mentioned, a lot of the times we have our polished, marketing narrative and then photos, but we have so many great design assets that are at our disposal, and finding ways to incorporate them into the pages. Is there the opportunity to do behind the design series? So as you can see, there are just a couple examples of where we've heard that there's a great diagram that exists. We snag it, ask if we can use it, and embed it. So it's really bringing that narrative to life more than just text image. So what we need from you is really just helping to know what assets we have on hand that we can leverage. I know a lot of the times sometimes we just find it by looking at the studio site or looking through Opacity. So if you have a great diagram or rendering that you think would be perfect for the portfolio page or narrative or an insight, connect with us and let us know. So here are just some of the amazing things we have to work with. And with social media too, I'm hoping to start leveraging more of the sketches, more of the process side. So anytime you have these components, reach out to us, let us know, and we would love to be able to use these in our external communications. So here's this behind the design series that we're talking about to kind of capture that people and creative process. So some of you might have recalled our Projects to Watch series. We launched that at the beginning of this year. And it was really kind of capturing projects to watch. We had 3 or 4 per market sector, essentially. And we had interviews with the project team. And I think one of the best questions we asked them was, what did you find most exciting about the design? Like, what was your favorite element? And really getting into the details of what our different designers are bringing to the table and what their story provides to this larger story. So this initiative for next year is going to be connecting with the design teams again to talk about this overall vision that the client had, how they decided to put the team together that they did, what that design process was like, and the impact that it has on the community. So kind of talking at these very different stages of the project, but getting more into how did you make this happen. So we would love to set up different interviews when we have projects identified, and again, bringing in these wonderful assets that speak to all of that process. And our last one is maximizing the opportunities in front of us for our media relations. I think since Shay came on board, we've done a great job getting into the spotlight even more. And of course, we can't do that without you and your stories and your willingness to participate. I know you are all very busy, so it's often an additional ask, but it makes a huge impact to be on the cover of a publication or have your story featured. We had somebody reach out to us through the website asking, hey, is this the HDR that I read about in this magazine article? And people do read publications, so we need your willingness to, if you have an idea or a story that you want to share, coming to the team and finding a way to partner and find the right avenue for that story. So I know that was a lot to go over, and communication and storytelling has been a huge part of this meeting, so I'm very grateful to be here for the team because it is so helpful to hear your perspectives. And I know I've had chats with some of you, like, what do you think we need, or how are you telling our story, and trying to get to the heart of how we can collaborate more and really work together to tell HDR story, our design stories, and the studio stories. So, open discussion.
So, one of the things that I find is very, very useful with the passing book is extremely strong. The work you do is really based off of the talent that comes into the office. The work we do is based off the talent that we can get into the office. That talent, a lot of times, is seeing the filtering, and that's the HDR of the bigger picture, right? So an opacity book, some of the outreach that we do is fantastic. So taking actually some of this and collecting it in a way that we can use as a brochure or as a drop-off